This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by the Podcast Reach System. Are you ready to exponentially reach more profitable customers? Launching and hosting your own show is your proven best solution for networking, client attraction, and establishing your celebrity expert brand. Visit www.podcastreachsystem.com and claim your rightful place as the leading star of your industry so you make a difference for your community, market, and audience. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. Right now, we are speaking with Tammy Fink, who is the author of The Wow Factor and a client experience expert. You can discover so much more about her by visiting our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com if you're not already on our website viewing this. So she has over 30 years of experience working in marketing and graphic design, and she became an entrepreneur full-time in 2004, 1 year before me. She's been teaching and training online since 2010, 1 year before me. Her signature program is the Wow Factor Experience, where she encourages attendees to create meaningful and memorable connections that take their businesses to the next level in connection and client retention. Her URL is going to summarize what all this amounts to, but we're going to save that to the end when Tammy shares her very special gifts with you. But for now, Tammy, welcome aboard.
Hey, Adam, thanks for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it is. It is. The first question is, how does the work you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and society at large?
You know, it's kind of like you said a while ago. I teach entrepreneurs and coaches, membership site owners, how to connect with people in a way that's both meaningful and memorable. It really matters to their clients, right? So it's looking at those. I call those my M&Ms, right? Because we gotta throw some chocolate in here somewhere. But that is the M&Ms. It needs to be meaningful and memorable. And so many times, you know, I see brilliant people that they get so caught up with their content and what they're trying to sell or what they're trying to teach that they forget how to look at things from their client's perspective, right? They start when you do that, when you make that mind shift change, everything changes. Your marketing, everything. When you're looking at things from the perspective of your client and what they want from you, it really makes a difference.
I was taught a long time ago that there are basically 3 things to consider. One of which is what your client or your prospect says they want. One is what they think they want. And one is what they'll actually respond to in a way that gets them to take the action you want them to take. The third one is the only one that matters. And if it contradicts the other two should be disregarded, basically. People are socially programmed. They're supposed to have a certain response. For example, would you like to lose weight? Anybody who is not built like a toothpick is probably going to say yes. Would you like a nicer car? Well, you're supposed to say yes. Really? Well, what if I want to go on eating 2 pizzas for breakfast every morning and driving my Yugo? What if that makes me happy? That's and if you were offering me more free pizza and broken down Yugos I could cannibalize to keep mine running, I would take you up on that in a heartbeat.
You're so funny. I think a lot of it, you know, as we're looking through the things that how we relate to our clients, right? It is what is attracting them, what do they want, right? And sometimes we forget to think, you know, how are we going to benefit them and where they're at versus what we want to sell them. Is a great example.
Yeah. So what is it exactly that you do, just so that we understand what your service or product is?
Well, let me give you a little bit of the story here. During
All right.
COVID, I wrote 3 books because, why wouldn't we? We had all the time in the world.
Sure, why
So
not?
why not? All the extra things. But what I did was I took the experience that I've developed over the last couple of decades and I put it in the book that I wish every client would have ever read before they worked with me, right? So now I'm teaching, I'm speaking, I'm teaching, I'm training others how to connect with their clients through strategic touch points throughout their client's journey. So what I do is I help them to figure out what are these magical mystery times that make sense for us to connect with our clients.
Great. What are a few questions that you wish people? No, let's back up here. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. What are some of the most frequently asked questions you get from folks who are currently on their journey toward deciding to work with you?
People always want to know, especially after they find out, I've been a graphic designer and all that. One of the first things they want to say is, hey, what can I put my logo on? That's one of the first things. Well, there's a ton of swag that we can put our logos on, right? Swag, you know what that is? That's stuff we all get, right? So those
stuff I throw away once a year, except for the pens. When you have cats, you can never have enough pens, but the rest of it,
never have enough pens. You know, but we do go through that, and we'll talk about pens. But they want to know, how much is this going to cost them? What can they put their logo on? They want to know, can their teams do this? Is this something they can do in-house, or is this something they're going to have to hire done by somebody else? And those are the 3 basic questions I get all the time.
Great. Now we get to the question I almost shared a moment ago. What are 3 questions you wish people would ask as part of that process?
One of the biggest questions I wish people would take all of those things and kind of turn them inward and say, what can I offer that will make the biggest impact in my clients' lives? How can I get to be a part of their world? How can I increase my client retention? How can we keep them instead of getting thousands of numbers, right? It's a numbers game, especially in the online communities. Everything's a numbers game. But what can I do that would help keep my clients longer? Right?
That's great. That's great. And, there is so much focus on acquisition, whereas in reality, retention is, I don't think it's correct to say retention is the new acquisition. A client of mine says that all the time. And I agree with his sentiment that focusing on retention is a key profit center for your business, fixing the leaky bucket and what have you. At the same time, I don't think that's exactly a new concept.
No, it's not.
I think what happens is the solid strategy of retention and extending the lifetime value of the customer just isn't as sexy, because that's where you do non-sexy stuff. That's where you have to actually render the service and make them excited to receive it. That's where you have to make them so deliriously happy that they go and tell their friends all about you and don't ask for a cut of the action when their friends walk in the door. That's where you have to do all the keep in touch strategies, and you have to deal with the stuff in order to maintain their overall happiness, so they stay with you for the long haul and possibly for generations, depending on what business you're in. Whereas client acquisition, we get to do all these fun things with websites and stuff.
I'll tell you something though, real quick, Adam, about that. We can still make this sexy, because here's another mind shift for you.
Oh, I love it.
I love this. If you are going to have, if you're going to be doing these strategic touch points, only you can do them in the way that you're going to do them. So here's the mind shift. All of a sudden, you're offering a unique customer experience that makes you stand out in the marketplace. So that becomes now something that you can only offer. I don't care if you're all in the insurance business. I don't care if you're all coaches. You can offer something that's completely unique, and it's going to have your clients talking about you. And that's sexy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's the thing about this, that you're right. I think that is somewhat exciting. It's just not the same as, we get to do campaigns and things like that. But actually, I'd like to point out, just to close out my own point, it's kind of circular. You do get to do campaigns. A retention campaign is a campaign. So now let's switch to getting to know you a little bit better here as we go through the last few minutes. What is something that people who know you would be surprised to learn about you?
I'm 5'3", soaking wet. I'm 5'3", but
Yeah.
back in the day, I was a 6'7" Cardinal.
Nice.
I was the Webb City Cardinal for my high school. I was the mascot for the football team, the basketball team, the wrestling team. I actually was in marketing before I even knew that I was in marketing, because I was the face of the sports teams for my high school, right?
Correct.
Didn't know it at the time, but later on I learned, and it was an amazing experience, but not everybody knows that.
Correct. What do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
It's funny. People say all the time that I'm loud, lovable, and I'm full of laughs. And I've taken that, made a brand out of it. So I hope that that's some of the things that they do, that they say that I am an amazing person that they want to be able to know, and I'm a great resource for them. And I'll tell you, and I said this before, one of my biggest compliments is when I meet people in real life that I've only known through the virtual world, through digital, that all of a sudden they say, you're exactly the way that you are when you're on screen. And I take that as the biggest compliment. I absolutely love that.
Yep, that goes to radical authenticity, and I agree wholeheartedly. If you could go back in time and change one thing you've done or one thing you've experienced, what would it be?
I think I would have started my business sooner.
Yeah.
I think that I went the collegiate route. I didn't end up getting some big master's degree or go on from that, but I did check all the boxes off. I did not learn some of the valuable things that I should have learned, like how to network. I know some people, when they go to college and come out of it with a degree and they're still working at Taco Bell, it's because they didn't learn how to network. They didn't learn how to build connections with people. So I think that if I would have had to do it over again, I just would have started my business probably sooner. And I would have had that idea in mind.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. I went through a 2-year period where I could have gone either way. I was building what at the time was a side hustle, and at the same time I'd been diagonally promoted to this company, and I was trying to figure out which way I was going with this. And then the decision got made for me when I found out, and I'll say this candidly, what a freaking moron my boss's boss was. And let's just say that something that person did to me made the decision for me. And here's what I like to share, and I'll be very pithy about it because we still have 1 or 2 more questions for you in the brief amount of time we have. I spoke with my business mentor, who's also a client of mine, about what had happened. And he told me that if I could give him documentary proof that I quit my job, he would give me $3,000.
Wow.
Notice I didn't say loan. Notice I didn't say advance against services to be named later. Give me the $3,000. See, at the time, I didn't have the full mindset to understand that A, people could be so generous, and B, that he had an ulterior motive that was actually altruistic, as follows. He wanted to do more work with me, and the sooner I could get out of that job, the sooner we could work more together. So he was viewing it as $3,000 ought to get him through 60 days. We'll get him out of that job. We'll get him real busy.
I love that.
I couldn't see that. I couldn't see that at the time. So that would be my what could I do differently thing. I would say, oh, $3,000. Okay, I'm logged into my PayPal right now, and I'm refreshing. Give me the money.
Yep.
I got the letter written. Let's do it.
I love that.
Yeah. What famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet, and what questions would you have for them?
You're gonna love this, Adam. I want to meet Steve Jobs, and I've said this. But I don't want to meet him now. I don't want to meet him when he was 25 and had more money than most of us have ever seen. I want to meet him when he was 17, when he didn't know, right? Like figuring out, what are you doing now? Do you have any clue as to where your trajectory is going to be? I want to be able to have those conversations with him. I would be love to mess with him just because we know what we know now, and going back, he would just be a kid, because I guess I'm guessing he would have had a whole different outlook on things even at that point, though. I think he would have been a different 17-year-old than we would have been know today.
And meanwhile, I'd be thinking, Oh, I know something you don't.
Right? Okay, I'm a little bit like that, I will say.
I resonate 1000%. What motivates, inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge?
You know, I love to surround myself with brilliant people. I have always found brilliant people that help you want to be a better person, that want you to want to take the next step. You want to be able to be around people that motivate you and inspire you all the time and uplift you. And it's hard, even in the entrepreneurial space. I know one of the things, it's hard when other people don't speak the same language as you. So getting involved in community, finding places online and stuff where you can talk the same talk is just huge for me.
Right. So finally, I know you have a special gift for our listeners, and it is a wowzer. And I'm going to share that with our audience in a minute. But in general, right now, what is one action you would recommend our listeners take as soon as they finish streaming this episode?
Here's the deal. I hear people say all the time to me, I've got so many people in my membership, in my team. I can't do for everybody, right? If you can't do for everybody, I want to challenge you to do for one what you can't do for many. I want
Right.
you to make a list of maybe 25 people that you want to build a deeper relationship with in your business. Maybe it's podcasts you want to be on. Maybe it's people that are in your peer level. Maybe it's people in your team or people who are a part of your community. But figure out, what can you do? You don't need thousands of connections. It's not necessarily a numbers game. It's how do you build these meaningful and memorable connections with people so they're going to refer you to more clients. You're going to be able to offer unique customer experiences so that you can go on and figure out how you can separate yourself from all of the people that are in your same field, right? All your competitors, there's not going to be any competition because it's going to be you, and only you can deliver what you can for your people, right? So make a list of 25 people that you want to influence and that you want to have a part of as your group.
Fantastic. All right. So for our listeners, remember I said this would be a wowzer. Go to www.wowtammy.com. That is really the URL, www.wowtammy.com, WOWTAMMY.com. And you are going to find something very, very, very special there that is going to be a wowzer. Should I give you a clue? Yes, actually, I should give you a little hint of what's coming up. Basically, you are getting the amazing, great opportunities to wow your clients' graphics, something that I've already downloaded and think is pretty interesting. This will benefit you in so many ways to help you identify these opportunities that Tammy has shared with you today. So once again, be wowed at www.wowtammy.com. And with that, Tammy, Fink saying thank you so much for being with us today. It's been an honor, and believe me, in education.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.